Как сохранить себя и найти баланс
and how can they find balance in this dynamic environment in which they exist. And I'd like to invite to the stage our moderator, Alexey Lokatsky. Alexey is a business consultant for InfoSec with Positive Technologies. Please also welcome Dmitry Gadar, VP and InfoSec Department Director with T-Back, Kirill Myakishev, CISO of Ozon, Alexander Kalida, Director for Information Security at Yandex, Елизавета Zubova, psychologist, private practitioner, Olga Vidikova, psychologist, teacher, leader of educational and psychotherapeutic groups, marital therapist, supervisor, workflow consultant, psychotraumatologist, certified systemic family therapist, psychodramatist. Vladimir Bengin, director for product development of Ocelar Security, GKP Rostelecom.
Добрый день, коллеги. Добрый день и вечер тем, кто нас смотрит здесь.
Very good afternoon, colleagues, and good evening to everyone who is here and watching us online.
У нас очень непростая сессия.
This is going to be a challenging session, and probably for the first time at PhD when we are not talking about technology, and not about business, not even about team building. We will be discussing here things that are usually discussed following several glasses of alcohol or other energizing substances in a circle of friends. We will be talking about psychology. This is going to be one of these discussions that was initiated spontaneously a couple of weeks ago, and it didn't take much effort really to assemble this panel. Everyone agreed immediately as soon as they heard the proposed topic, because many people could relate to it, as it turns out. Now we'd like to talk about the reasons of stress and burnout that security specialists experience. Why do these things happen to them, and are there any countermeasures? When we were getting ready for this discussion, I discovered a curious thing. It turns out that people find ways into InfoSec business for a reason. Probably we are driven by some subconscious childhood memories that drive us into cybersecurity, really. And this is where I wanted to start. Because often the stress and the burnout has the same root causes. We will be probably talking about the stages of burnout. I don't know. Or shall we leave it for desserts? Anyway, I'd like to address the first question to Dmitry, Kirill, and Alexander. Why InfoSec? Vladimir. And Vladimir as well. Why InfoSec? And probably after that, Елизавета and Olga will be able to explain to you what was the real cause of you joining the InfoSec team, or maybe they will be telling you they should have become a gardener or a deputy minister, perhaps. Well, indeed, the idea for this session, emerged only like a week ago, and that's everything you needed to know ever about burnout. We were writing to each other, we're texting to each other at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. Well, psychologists also were eagerly responding to our messages at 3 in the morning. Well, frankly speaking, the panel came together a week ago, but Dima and Sasha, we started talking about these things about a year ago, probably. There was this event. We met there. When we saw each other, we approached each other with the same sigh. We are so tired. Well, exactly tired, not a different word. I remember we said something different. Anyway, this session is being broadcast, so children may be watching us. We are so tired. But this is an excellent practice, actually, and we get together with guys and we moan and we nag at each other, complaining about. So, what was the question? What drove you into information security? Oh, that's a difficult question. I'm a math person. I loved math. I was into math.
Синдром отличника.
Are you an A student? No, not really. I never had the A student syndrome. Probably when I was at the university, that's when I acquired it. But until, one of the last classes at school, yeah, I only excelled at math, and I was somewhere in the middle of the class in all other subject matters. And then I went to the university, and the university asked me only to pass one test, which was math. And the university offered me a class in cryptography, and I decided that, yeah, that's a good idea. So I had to study physics anew. I had to go back to basically school textbooks to study physics and to be able to join that course on cryptography. And I remember at 17, when I was at the university, I couldn't afford going out, eating properly. I slept for 5-6 hours a night, and the rest I was studying. I studied at the Moscow Institute of Engineering and Physics, and that's a hard place to be. You were not an A student. I understand that. Yeah, I competed in various competitions, but yeah, at the university I graduated with honors. I don't know. And then I went into crypto analysis. I developed cryptography, security means, but I get tired quickly with the projects that I'm on. So I was switching between projects. I went into SOC, and now I'm here at this stage. I think that, yeah, Dima is not an A-grade student, definitely. Especially at school. Well, my case is the reverse one. I was A-grade material at school. Yeah, we can have a vote. Who looked better at school? Me or Dima? Probably Sasha. I'm a bad role model. Anyway, I got a silver medal at school. And I joined the Moscow University, the School of Math and Mechanics. And I said, where at your department you have the highest competition among students? And I was told that was cybersecurity, and this is how I ended up in cybersecurity. Well, I'm a pathological A-grader. I'm an achiever, and I get anxious if I'm not the best. I'm not sure I got interested in cybersecurity at school. My parents are doctors, medical doctors, but my grandparents are engineers, and I have always had this engineering perspective. I always was curious to find out how things work. I was dismantling toys, cars, couldn't put them back together anyway, but I think that probably is the reason why I'm interested in cybersecurity, because in cybersecurity you need to understand how every single wheel works.
Спасибо, Володя.
Right, thank you, Volodya.
Ладно.
Very well.
Во-первых,
How did you study at school? Well, all these novices, all the school children, it looks like it's the same formula every time. You go to school, you excel at math, you study math at the university, you go into cryptography, and this is how you end up in info security. Same story here. I was not an A-grader.
Дальше работа, ну то есть ты попал в эту сферу.
Then, I don't know how I joined this business initially, but the important question is why you stay.
Вообще неважно, где.
Because this is such a cool thing. You are defending, you're on the defense, it's like you're defending a company, for instance. And you don't understand yet that this is a trashy job, but actually when you first join an InfoSec department, you think that you are working for the good, that you are the defender, that you are the savior, this is very romantic. But it still works, doesn't it? I mean, this kind of inspiration still works.
Спасибо.
Kinda.
Так, Елизавета и Ольга,
Елизавета and Olga,
препарируйте.
Да, я,
would you
можно, тоже
deconstruct
поделиться.
that?
Я в детстве мечтала стать
Sure.
артисткой, и мне пришлось
child,
10
I
лет
wanted to
сначала
be
проработать в кибербезе,
an
потом
actress.
выгореть, стать психологом.
So
и вот
I
я, наконец-то,
worked in
на сцене.
cybersecurity
Конференция по
for
Да, на
10
конференции по
years first, and I
безопасности,
burned
которую,
out,
в
and
общем,
then I
не
decided I
достойна.
want to be a psychologist. And I'm here at a
Хочу тоже
cybersecurity
поделиться,
conference
как я
on the
выбирала
stage.
кибербез.
Not an easy
Я
path.
там не должна была
As to
вообще
how
оказаться.
I
И,
ended up in
ну, артистку мне зарубили,
cybersec,
психолога тоже. Я тогда играла
well,
в компьютерные игры. У
at
меня
that
было
time
куча
I
друзей
played
айтишников,
computer
как их тогда
games. I had
называли,
many
сисадмины.
friends among
Ну
IT
и, в общем,
people,
родители
the
мне
system
предложили, что
administrators,
есть
and my
такая
parents told me that they wouldn't let me be an actress, but they said that potentially there was a profession that I might be interested in. Would I consider studying cybersecurity? And I thought that, well, hackers, that's so cool. I loved reading about investigations, and yeah, it also had this romantic appeal. And then when I finished studying and started to work, when I got out in the field, this is when my journey towards burnout started.
не совсем в своей роли
Probably that happened
была
because I was not me, I was not myself at cybersecurity. Now, as a psychologist, I feel full self. But actually, we are making jokes about this, but this is serious stuff. It's us smiling or laughing, that's our protective mechanism. Burnout is an epidemic these days.
Ну, очень многие люди с этим сталкиваются, и очень многие это
Many people face it.
И, например,
Many
лично,
people
когда я
suffer
с этим
and
столкнулась,
never
я вообще не
talk.
понимала, что я выгораю, ну, пока я уже там в уголок
When I
совсем не
experienced it, I didn't understand that that was the process of burnout until I turned to ashes almost. So I had to make this public. It's a real syndrome. It's recognized by the WHO.
Наверное,
And as to people here,
у многих здесь
probably
есть такая проблема, что ну, вот
many people on the stage in the audience, they have the fear of being rejected, and we
которая во многом связана с некоторым
we want to be recognized, and that's why we want to acquire a profession that will give us an illusion of control.
как-то так.
You know that controlling everything is not possible, but at least to have an illusion. Okay, so here we've got people who are virtual defenders and rescuers. Psychologists are also rescuers. Is it the same for you? Yes, totally. I'm a rescuer. I'm on your team. Everyone who works in the ambulance, in the emergency response services, in the fire departments, everyone who are fighting for the motherland with arms, psychologists, doctors, we are all rescuers. We come to the rescue. It's our role. And I will be saying the role for you to understand. This is important. The role is often larger than the person, and the person is sometimes larger than the role. The role of the rescuer is in a triad. It's part of the rescuer, victim, and the tyrant triangle. So it's never a two-sided, it's a three-sided story. I'm a professional rescuer of 25 years, and I keep studying. I will study. I was saving my mother because she grieved, and I didn't want her to fall into depression. I know nothing but to save people. I understand them, and by a blink of the eye, I can decipher what people feel. This is a skill that I was developing purposefully over my whole life. Burnout and rescue. Being a rescuer is one of the causes of burnout, but not the only cause.
И тем жертвам, которым нам нужно спасти срочно.
There are victims that we feel like we need to rescue, and that's why we are here. That's one of the aspects of our work. There is this Private Ryan who we need to come to the rescue too, and this will somehow decharge our the pressure that we are under. There are three reasons why, or three causes that lead to burnout, and these causes are not related or associated with our own psyche. First of all, we have to be dissatisfied with the fruit of our own labor. We should be dissatisfied with the relations in the team, and we should be dissatisfied with the salary. If our salary is brilliant, if we've got brilliant relations in the team, and if I've got results and I'm happy with those results, even if I'm tired and I only have 5 hours a day to sleep, I will never burn out. But if I am not happy with my own performance, if I'm not happy with the people around me, and if I'm not getting paid properly, then I will end up in a burnout. I'm a psychologist. You invited me here as a psychologist, right? And I'm supposed to talk about some in-depth and profound things. But as a psychologist, I assure you that we are emotional people. And this is primary. And only in the second turn, we are rational people, thinking people, the mathematicians. But if we do not process our feelings like anxiety or failure or the feeling of despair or anger, if we try to suppress these feelings, then our body starts processing these feelings. And the burnout is a physical process. The body will experience the burnout, and not every tiredness can be equal to burnout. Sometimes the customers tell me, my whole body burns. It's like I'm full of threads and they're burning, or I lay down and my body rings. This is neural inflammation. It's a sign. It sounds familiar? It rings? It does? Okay, I will be talking about ATP and adenosine. Oh, okay, I need to interrupt you. You know, I need to ask the colleagues. 3 causes: money, performance, and team. You are leaders, top managers. I'm sure we don't have any issues with your salaries or wages. You are leaders. It means that you are running teams, big teams often. So probably you shouldn't be having any problems there. But what about performance? Are you dissatisfied with your own achievements? Are you dissatisfied with your own results? Well, actually, and I think that we talked with Olga about that. Often in information security, the result is nothing. When something did not happen, that's your result, that's your performance. Incidents should not happen. When you produce a product, you make a product, I don't know, you're carving something out of wood, you will have this carved wood thing. But it's a physical product. But often when you are a lead in information security, you're responsible for everything, you are overwhelmed with the responsibility. There is, the locus of control. Either it's internal or outside, an external one. If it's the internal locus of control, then you are responsible for everything that happens in your life. And this is a position that enables you to act. But it leads to perfectionism and to you trying to control absolutely everything. And as a result, you've been working hard the whole day. And then what do you get in the end? You've been to 15 meetings a day, but did things change? Did they not change? They are the same. Also, overall, I'm happy with my performance, but InfoSec has special features, and this is an external factor. When an incident happens, or if something goes wrong, people come to information security. It means that you didn't do enough. But if you set limitations or restrictions, then people come to information security and say, "Hey, why are you overthinking things? Why are you overdoing it?" It was the 9th of May, and I was driving in my car. And on the 9th of May in Moscow, half of the city is closed off, and the phone doesn't work. And I apply this to me. This looks very much like information security. When I started to complain, I tell myself, well, can you imagine how many different incidents they managed to prevent by closing off the city or blocking the phones? People, you ask them to pay for something, but information security people can't explain to the people what they are paying for, because if they do explain, they will provoke panic. I mean, if you do explain things, no one is under an attack, right? There aren't any breaches or anything. Everything is okay. So this disbalance, probably, this is what our performance is. As the tangible result of your work, it doesn't exist. Nothing happened, because of your fine work.
Вопрос сразу, а что вы там делаете?
Yeah, the standard question is, what are you doing there?
Что вы там делали?
There is an incident. What are you doing there? No incident. What are you doing there?
Как раз вот на
That's a big
сути,
challenge,
совет
actually.
директоров, да, с C-level,
The board of directors, you report to the board of directors, you need to be able to explain the output of information security, the performance. And it's best if it's not the number of incidents that you report, but rather the important technologies that you deployed. And it's a challenge to be able to explain that to the higher-ups.
Отвечу на вопрос Алексея, который он задал. Он там
I'll answer Alexei's question. Thank you! Finally, someone answering my question.
потом поговорим.
Well, the money, I'll talk to my boss later about the money. My team,
Про
the
результат.
coolest team ever.
Вот Ольга говорила, что
Results. Olga said that, yeah, we want to save that private Ryan, and now our job, it's impossible to save private Ryan. There is no 100% security. Every InfoSec person does that. The most safe system and secure system is the disabled system, not connected. So it's not possible to be 100% secure.
там проектные, не
As
знаю,
to results,
какие-то мы смотрим, там
metrics,
рисуем какие-то графики офигительные.
indicators,
Это все понятно.
charts.
Ну, типа результаты,
That's all
когда ты
very
скажешь,
clear,
ну,
but
всё, я
the
сделал,
result is,
отлично,
okay,
безопасно, класс, всё,
it's
можно
all
идти.
safe now,
Я
I'm done, I'm finished,
Всё
I'm washing my
закрепленное,
hands.
значит, всё нормально.
Everything's
Такого не
everything's
бывает. Не
worded
может
off.
ни одного
But
безопасника всегда
no
есть чем
InfoSec guy will
позаниматься,
ever be able to say
Ну, и
that,
может
because
быть,
there is
как
always
раз
room
в этом
for
и-
improvement.
Мне кажется, Кирюха, это дальше ты
And
переносишь
Kirill,
на
actually,
собственную
and then you
безопасность,
start
физическую безопасность. Скажи,
transferring
ты
this onto your own security, because you leave office at 6. Have you ever left office at 6? Have you switched off? Have you stopped thinking about 6 p.m.? What do you mean? Yeah, security people, they run 24/7. Even if you are engaged elsewhere, this is burnout.
Когда нет,
Seriously?
когда симпатическая система работает.
This is when your sympathetic system, the fight or flight system, it's if you keep thinking about your work at home, that means that you are burning out.
Всё нормально.
How long can it last? How many decades? Well, it depends on the strength of your will.
Можно все-таки я про АТФ расскажу.
Can I say something about ATP?
Аккумуляторы в каждой
We've got
клетке это АТФ.
Batteries
Когда
in our cells,
эта энергия расходуется,
ATP.
то она расходуется
When
под
we
воздействием
spend the
стресса
energy,
в огромном количестве. Вот это АТФ
we spend our energy the most
аденозинчик и 3 фосфорные кислоты.
under stress. ATP is a special acid,
Работать, отдыхать.
and when this acid is released,
В разные ОЭ.
we can relax, we can get rest, we are capable of many different things. We can make discoveries, for instance. But
Митохондрии нужно время, чтобы
if we lost all of the ATFs, the mitochondria needs time to bring it back again.
на нейроны.
The mitochondria
Заставляют нас
attaches to the neurons.
То есть усталость.
And this is when we feel tired. Tiredness is a physiological, instinctive mechanism of protection. What do you do when you feel tired? Vladimir?
Кто силен духом и здоровьем, тот, конечно,
Those who are strong
у кого, соответственно, с ним уже
in will and health
ну, ложимся
gets the
сразу,
bottle out.
идем, значит, в соляную пещеру.
If you're not as healthy as you used to be,
Но в целом все
we
закончится.
go to the salt cave. Or we go camping. Exactly, go camping. But there is a high level of alcoholism in our industry. You can't do anything about it. Well, actually, I wanted to argue. I've been listening, and I understand that I'm ready to argue. And you said 3 things, and the last one was money. Well, actually, this industry is very expensive. If you're not getting enough, if not getting paid mark to market, you go and talk to your bosses. In the last 3 years, I'd say the increase was 60 to 200%. So in terms of salaries, we grew up very much, but this motivation lasts for 2 or 3 months. This is my statistics, I know it for sure. You increase the salary to your employees, and it works for 2 or 3 months. This is the worst possible motivation of all. What did I do? The team. my collective. Well, the money is very subjective. If I've addressed all my basic needs, the food, the apartment, whatever money you are going to make, you're going to spend it. And if you don't like what you are doing, if you are not happy with how well you manage to prevent incidents, and it doesn't matter how much you're getting paid, well, actually, you'll just have to submit to it. The majority will just accept it. The majority will never appreciate your effort. That's the nature of our job, of our profession. Okay, Елизавета. Security people use such thing as compromise indicators or indicators of compromise, IOCs. The bell rings and they know that something's going to happen. So what are the indicators of compromise in case of burnout? We should be on the lookout for what? Well, first of all, yes, there are indicators. And on top of the reasons that we have already cited, there are internal causes, external causes, some things we can control, some do not depend on us. But one of the fundamental causes is not satisfying the needs, the human needs. When your expectations are not met, you join a company, you find a job, you're an analyst or a CISO, CISO. You had some initial idea about what you would be doing at your job and what you will be getting out of this job, what your personal needs will be satisfied. And if after a while turns out all these important things, and maybe these things they go back, into the past, the childhood. If these basic things, these basic expectations are not met, and this person doesn't know how to fix that, this is when burnout starts. Speaking about indicators of compromisation. Well, first of all, burnout is a diagnosis. It's a syndrome recognized by the WHO. It's the syndrome that is caused by chronic stress. And it has three key components, looking at which we'll be able to tell for sure that we have burned out. The first symptom is overall emotional, physical exhaustion. We understand that our motivation is down, we don't have any power to move, we don't want to go to work, we aren't incentivized by any new projects, we are irritable, we like to close down, not talk to anyone, people irritate you. Vladimir, you keep counting? I see that you are counting with your fingers, right? Okay. Then distancing. Distancing. This is when you become cynical and sarcastic. You are so annoyed with everything that you devalue everything, that you start complaining, you push the guilt. No, these people tend to tell the truth in this state of being. Right, and the third component of the syndrome is low productivity and underestimation of your own performance and the performance of your team. That means total breakdown. This is when you make mistakes. This is when you miss deadlines. This is when you lose the will to continue working. This is when you decide to perhaps resign and look for employment elsewhere in a new profession. And this syndrome intensifies over time. The most motivated people tend to be the first to burn out. All these A-graders, all these perfectionists, all these achievers, overachievers, they get a new job. They think that they will be the best ever. They're going to produce the best product ever, and then they wake up thinking about their work, they go to bed thinking about their work, they dream about their work at night.
Вот.
Сколько так можно?
Exactly. How long can you survive living in this mode? Well, your body cannot survive living in this mode. But how long? How long can it survive? That depends on character traits and personal features and specifics. If you deep dive into a task, then for a week you're going to be active. In a month you will be burned out. Well, I'm still actively working on a project. In your case, you might have some factors linked to values and senses. Exactly. If you understand the sense of a task, it helps. I just wanted to ask you, in cybersec, we see mostly males, and males never admit to any weaknesses. And Kirill stated that there is no such thing as 100% security. There are vulnerabilities that we protect, so it's an internal conflict. We do not admit any weaknesses on the one hand, and on the other hand, we cannot ensure 100% protection. So at initial burnout stages, we reach a balancing act, whether we proceed to the second stage or we stick to the first stage. Well, let me follow up on that. Cybersecurity is an industry with a high level of uncertainty, and you don't know whether you will get a whole night's sleep or whether an incident will occur. Well, define expectations of a problem, right? Exactly. You live in it. You live in a constant suspense.
Ну, еще и неопределенность завтрашнего дня.
Well, Alfred Hitchcock, a famous director, directed lots of movies, horror movies, and he used the suspense as the main movie tool. Something is happening on the screen, and everyone is waiting for something even more outrageous to happen. And the tension you are kept in, the expectation of something to happen, turns out to be more emotionally demanding than the climax. So let's sum up the two. I know how to intrude Yandex, and will someone learn about the way to do it before I actually, remove this vulnerability? Well, everyone knows how to hack your own company in 10 different or 15 different ways. It's business as usual, but this is not the issue at hand. We have we don't have much time, so what do we do? Olga and Elizaveta, let me readdress this question to you. If they start boozing, how long will they be able to booze away? Well, assault Kiev is not an option for me, and I don't booze. What do? You have a pool with a counterflow, but it's a really weak counterflow, so it doesn't help either. Olga, what do we do? Well, from the I started about the ATP. I started talking about the ATP, but no one followed up on that. For some reason, you keep saying that we booze when we're tired. What do rescuers do when they are tired? A psychology of a hero is to stand until you're exhausted and never ask for anything in return. It's like internal resilience, your backbone. You just enjoy saving people, and that proves that you're strong. A real cybersec guy never asks for anything. Are you trying to address your own subordinates right now? Exactly. That's the role of a hero, and this is something intrinsic in a hero. Whenever you feel tired, you go get a cup of coffee, you get a smoke. What does a cup of coffee do? Adenosines are in your blood flow, and mitochondria does not get recharged yet. So coffee prevents mitochondria from recharging, and you don't feel tired anymore. Your body sends you alarms, but the coffee does not allow you to feel the tiredness. Smokes, cigarettes work in a different way. They suppress adenosine-choline, but the parasympathetic system, which is responsible for being relaxed, for staying relaxed, is not activated. So it's always the hit and run mode of operation, and the energy is not unlimited, and mitochondria cannot get recharged. So the energy reserves are only enough for the vital organs. That includes brains, heart, and kidney. And the body wants to self-preserve. It will ask you for another cup of coffee, another smoke, and so on and so forth. And that means that you accumulate the sense of tiredness. The nerve, the vagus nerve is the title of the book.
Там очень много подсказок, как с ним подружить, как вернуть его себе в команду.
So this book is about the fact that this nerve is responsible for the inflammation in the body, and you start experiencing problems with your gut, your stomach, your gastrointestinal tract, and the neural inflammation is another consequence. And first, we need to remove the inflammation from our nerves. There are lots of great vitamins that will help you do that. For instance, fish oil. You're laughing, but as a child, you probably consumed lots of fish oil. Endocrinologists will help you understand how much energy you burned out and how much is left. And then you go to your internal psychologist to understand what actually triggered the burnout mechanism. Why are you always not satisfied with the outcomes of what you do? Maybe you're unhappy with your team. That might be the case, Some unsettled conflict could be another reason. And there are two things that we need to be proficient in. A conflict actually tests two things. Can you defend your own self? That's the one. And the second one is, can you put yourself in the shoes of your interlocutor or adversary? If you run into problems in your relations, that's probably because you cannot defend yourself. Try and identify the root cause. Can you state your feelings without being too emotional? And the second thing that you should try and do is put yourself in the shoes of your adversary. What is your problem? The money, the critic, or your partner? What else can you do to make sure that this result feels better for you? Right. So, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I misheard something, but you started by saying that we need to intake supplements so that will help us change the internal processes, and then go to your psychologist or a psychiatrist or a psychologist followed by endocrinologist. In other words, you advise that we go to a doctor. No, you can do this on your own. A person does not always understand that he or she should go to a doctor, to a healthcare professional. Please raise your hand if you have ever visited a psychologist. No one is going to admit that. What does vagus like? It likes singing. It doesn't like boozing. So go to karaoke. It's another popular thing. It likes a warm bath or some warm water if you drink it. It likes meditation. It likes relaxing. And neurologists even believe that it's a female-style nerve. It's not like it could be a self-massage or some Indian practices.
Можете, если вы любите йогу, расстелить коврик и посидеть в этой шавасане.
На столе это сложно.
В кабинете, если у вас коврик, вы можете там.
Well, if you have a rug in your office, you can use it to meditate. Don't drink coffee. Drink some herbal teas. Green tea and black tea are a source of.
Спасибо, коллеги. Вот у кого из вас есть
suppressants. Well, right. Do you have a psychologist and endocrinologist in your team? Do you drink smoothies? Do you have yoga rugs? Well, we've been thinking about inviting a barista into our team. But you're going to drink more coffee. Exactly. Baristas are only proficient in making coffee, so it's just the opposite of what you recommended. I believe that the main thing in this entire story is to understand that it's high time we drank some tea, rolled out a rug for meditation. It's high time we allocated the time for that. It seems to me that there might be some other recommendations that we should follow on a regular basis for the sake of prevention. We are cybersec experts. No one likes herbal tea, but this is the cheapest way to relax. I have no grudge against herbal tea. Let's focus on a secure by design concept. We want to prevent burnout. So how do we design that? I love neurobiology. I love all publications by Robert Sapolsky, and I try to reverse engineer my own brain. Just like Alexander, I love reverse engineering. So you want to fight and win the sense of tiredness. I'm not talking about biohacking. It's a great topic, but it falls outside of our panel discussion. Physical exercise is a great thing. Even if you just walk around, you feel better. If I go in for physical exercise, I feel better, I sleep better. If I fall sick, I start experiencing problems with sleep because I am not getting enough physical exercise. So sleep is important for a cybersec expert. Physical exercise is important. Meditation, anything else. Digital detox. You have to limit doom scrolling, social media. When you ride a bike or take a jog, it's difficult to keep on scrolling. But when you go back to your home at night, some people keep on scrolling until they fall asleep. Exactly, you go into your working chat before you go to sleep. And ideally, blackout curtains should be part and parcel over your bedroom. Sleeping in total darkness is another simple thing. Will changing a smartphone for an e-book work? It will, because you don't get the dopamine injection when you scroll through social media, and that exhausts your mental resources, unlike reading an e-book. And another important comment that I want to share with you. These are simple things. Some of you might not like them, but by simple, I mean you can improve your sleep by doing more physical exercise, read more instead of scrolling the social media, and these are the fast steps that you can take to restore the exhausted resources. If you feel the initial signs of burnout, and if your objective is to take some of these steps, then you can display this wheel. If in a couple of weeks you don't feel better, if you don't feel energized, if you're still in the negative mood, then it might be a sign of the fact that you need some external help. I'm not saying that you should go to a psychiatrist to better understand your internal self, but you should probably go to a psychologist, undertake a medical checkup to see whether something is wrong with you. Well, these are obvious things. Digital detox, physical exercise, everyone knows about that, but the difficult thing is to find the time to engage in all of that. We need to save companies, we need to read the chat box. What's your answer? Boozing again? No, I'm trying to be serious now, so... We are all infosec experts, right? And unlike IT guys create things. In our case, we put everything in order. We develop things to put something else in order. And it's not only perfection, it's like obsessive-compulsive disorder, OCD. So IP to IP, a fork to a fork, a spoon to a spoon. You have a log, and everything should be precise and accurate there. So I guess this is something which is close to your heart. And we cannot do a digital detox, because if I wake up in the morning and I read a piece of news later than my boss, and by the way, this is a real life case, and you get a call from your boss and you have no idea what he's talking about, then your S pain is going to be twice as hard. So My paradigm is something that I've been using for a long time. We live from deed to deed. So we're gonna deep dive into this particular thing. You're not gonna get any sleep. There is not gonna be any work-life balance. But then all of a sudden, when you see that your guy's eyes glaze over, they have a thousand yard stairs, they're tired, you get them out to make sure that they get some rest. Some people go gardening, some go to a salt cave or something, whatever. I don't believe that in our industry we can actually achieve some ideal mode of operation with an ideal work-life balance. We live from a deed to a deed. You work hard for a month, then you get some rest. So our task is to get the slightly burned out guys and give them some rest. Because when they are burned out, they are prone to make mistakes. Vladimir, let me share a great hack with you, life hack with you. Last summer, I went to Kamchatka, and the time difference is 10 hours. And when you're awake, your team is asleep. And when you wake up, everything that could happen has already happened, and you get a notice from your boss saying that you are fired. A different time zone helps a lot to get some rest, you know. So let me take a step back. No chatting before going to sleep. Watch comedy movies. Our chat boxes are like stand-up comedy. But in the morning, the comedy turns out into a horror movie. So I guess you either go to Kamchatka. If you don't do this, then there are places where, for instance, in the ICU ward, where they get the smartphone from you by force. Well, if you pay for your hospital room, then you will get access to your smartphone. Trust me, I tried. I just wanted to discuss with you the following issue. Let's say you go through the chat box and you see that something happened. Dmitry and Alexander are responsible for huge teams. They run their own security operations centers. You have officers on duty, and they're there so that you don't have to scroll through a chat box. They're good experts, so they have to deal with it. Well, you are trying to micromanage people. So are you saying that he's a control freak? In Russia, there is always a single person responsible for things. If you're a CISO, then it's next to impossible not to follow things. Well, CISO is always the one to blame for anything that happens. And, half of the things that go to me never reach my team. I mean, bad things. But when you read the chat box before going to sleep, you're talking about projects. You are not dealing with the incidents, right? So you're trying to improve things. You're trying to set things in order, right? For instance, OCD aspects mentioned by Vladimir, an IP linked to an IP, but you are not concerned about incidents. No, exactly. I'm being a perfectionist all the time, and you wanna stay on top of things, abreast of things, and you are a reverse engineer. You wanna stay tuned. You wanna keep abreast of every single detail. Right. So we've been discussing the burnout of a CISO or a manager. But I was just wondering, can we prevent the burnout of your team if you are burnt out yourself? Are these two separate stories, or are they linked? The definite answer is no. First, put an oxygen mask on yourself, and then on your child, as they tell you on a plane. If the CISO is burnt out, then no one is going to help your team. You are the boss, and if you're burnt out, then the entire team will go down with a burnout. The non-verbal sign from any boss is that you should follow suit and work as hard as I do. And there are reverse engineers who look up to CISO and who want to become CISOs later in their careers. So you should lead by example. If you're always burnt out, if you cannot leave things be, well, I do understand that you do some unimaginable things. You supervise huge infrastructures. So you can introduce simple things into your daily lives to make sure that you're not burned out. Imagine that you are a system and you need some sort of safeguards within. And by using your I stance, you will drive the message home in a non-verbal form. By taking care of yourself, you will demonstrate to your team that rest and recreation is part of your daily work, and it's important to start with your own self. Vladimir, the floor is yours. Well, I decided to raise my hand because before that I interrupted everyone. So actually, ladies shared a very wise idea with us. System, well, the higher up you are up the career ladder,
Смотрю в себя, на всех заведено, что если ты вдруг слегка более отдохнувший,
if you're more rested than your predecessor, then something is wrong. I mean, the higher up the ladder you are, the more tired you should be. This is a standard for our industry. We tell people, this is a great guy, he's doing a great job. He has a 1,000-yard stare. He is a real CISO. He works 24/7. And the ladies actually told us that this is not a norm. This is wrong. And we're saying, we're going to booze, we're going to go to a salt cave or something and get some rest. It's Friday night and we know where we're going, right? We're going to a yoga class. No, actually, we're going to do some yoga right on the waterfront by the Moscow River. But there is good news I want to share with you. Is there such a thing as the good news? Well, there is. The role of a hero or a rescuer might change if you understand who it is that you're trying to save, and that is rooted in your childhood. I ask my patients to do the following every single day. Use your smartphone or use your brains to keep a list of things that you did well during the day. And then you can go bullet by bullet. That was a great, that was a job well done. And if a critic comes in and he usually says, you could have done that better than Mr. Smith, or you could have done it faster. List the negatives in a different column, but keep a list of positive bullets. So if your internal critic comes in, give him or her the floor, but offset it with some positive bullets. I go to vacations with my girlfriends, and if 5 of my kids are alive, then I'm a good mother. So keep a list of things that you did well during the day. A critic should keep his bullets in a different column. So the rescuer evolves and becomes a hero initially, then becomes a researcher of life. And then he or she sooner or later evolves into a strategist. If you do this work internally, you become a strategist. And strategist means that you can do the very same things without so much tension and without being burnt out. Olga, you mentioned that you have 5 kids. I have a friend who is a CEO of a cybersecurity company. He also has 5 kids. He let one of the kids take the go for bungee jumping, and I say, what are you doing? And he says, I have 5 of them. Another piece of advice from me as a psychologist, it'll take just a minute of your time. I mentioned that your internal rescuer, until he or she evolves into a strategist,
с большой опасной такой силой, с большой
always works with a huge force and huge power against the external enemy or adversary or someone who attacks you. And the attackers are always smarter, they are faster, and we have to keep up with them. Let's say we have a tyrant or some adversary on top who is smarter than you are, faster than you are, more dangerous than you are, and all the time you have to predict his actions. And the third role is the victim, right? The victim that you are trying to save. So this is the lead up to my main idea. Try and put yourself in the shoes of all three roles. If you stick to just a single role, and this is a triad of sorts, none of these three roles can exist without each other. So being the tyrant or the adversary is the most interesting role. And the reason for that is quite simple. If each and every one of you try to draw your internal adversary the way he or she looks, is it a person or is it not? By the way, you can try and do it right now. Who's your internal adversary that you are trying to fight? Who is it that you are defending against? Is it a person? Is it a male or a female? What's the age of this person? What are his or her skills? Your brain might draw an image of something else entirely. It might not be a person. Become this person and learn his or her strategies, and that will help you relax. Kirill, you wanted to add something, right? Let me sum up. Should I sum up the outcomes of this panel discussion? Well, I totally agree with the previous speakers in saying that we should start with ourselves. CISO is responsible for the culture in the team. Don't scroll through the chat box or don't write anything into the chat box at night. It's up to you as your boss to start doing that yourself and lead by example. I admit that at 2 a.m. I regret that I started writing something into the chat box at 10 p.m. And then guys start responding to me. This is the culture that we instilled in our team, and it's going to be the end of us. You're all CISOs, so let's start leading by example and taking care of ourselves. Vladimir, anything else? How many subordinates do you have? I don't have any subordinates. Well, actually, 100 guys, I don't know. I'm still undecided. This time around, I decided that I don't have any subordinates, but according to the organizational structure, I have about 100 of them. And when they come to you, you make do as if you didn't know them, right? That's a great approach. So, are you ready to deploy not just digital detox practices and not just hiring a barista for your office? Are you ready to serve herbal tea, flavored tea and smoothies instead of coffee and green tea? Or do you think this is a task for the HR department? Well, I believe that it's always up to the manager, regardless of whether you are a CISO or a top manager, the tyrant, the tsar, or the god, no matter what you call yourself, it's up to you to make sure that your team is great, regardless of what the HR people do. Now I'm going to have to do this. By the way, let me share some good best practices with you. I caught my guys, that's a great example. We do mini corporate parties every month without boozing sometimes. And this is awesome because, we're trying to do some equestrial sports. We're undecided whether we're going to go to a theater or to a pub. Well, everything meeting will definitely end with a pub. I love your message. So this is the first step. Actually, I heard a joke today. Did you know that baristas do the hearts in your cup of coffee for everyone, not just you? Why would you do that for everyone? CISOs are responsible for the well-being of their teams, and as for the best practices, I couldn't help but notice that the hyper-responsibility is one of the traits. Of course, you're responsible for your own team. And, well, we're here to discuss a very important topic. And, you know, zero trust and DevSecOps are simpler for me to discuss because these are engineering issues. However, the best leaders are those who create the proper senses for their teams and who can incentivize their teams. Any CISO or any top manager that should allocate more time to these issues rather than engineering questions. Of course, being engineers, we cannot but deep dive into what interests us more. This is something which is unknown for us. This is terra incognita, but I'd love to keep on discussing that. We joked about, you know, this panel discussion, but I think it would be useful if we organized standalone panel discussions devoted to certain components. Did you take away anything useful from this panel discussion? We, you know, stated some simple but not so obvious scenarios. For instance, we start at 10 to 9 a.m. with a yoga session rather than 10 a.m. and you have to log in when you come in for work. Well, we should start thinking about specific techniques. Well, I wouldn't say that I heard anything new, but it was really important for me to be able to discuss these issues, because I believe that it's part and parcel of the daily work of any manager or any would-be manager. Being a manager is not about, you know, coming up with an action plan for your team. It's about creating consensus, and there are three types of leaders. The simplest one is to, you know, tell people what to do. The second one is to become a leader who leads by example. And, you know, you should motivate your own self and then give the toolbox to your team so that they can cope with the difficult situations. Despite the fact that we joked around and being funny, you know, the responsibility of a manager is to prevent things and to make sure that the team is comfortable in working with each other. Kirill, and then I will give the floor to you. I'll be brief. I totally agree with Dmitry, and actually, let me share a joke with you. My takeaway is that I'm responsible not just for InfoSec, but also for herbal tea, for serving herbal tea and organizing yoga sessions. Right. Since we all sum up the outcomes and the takeaways of this panel discussion, Dmitry said that he didn't learn anything new. But I believe that the very fact of organizing this panel discussion is important. Some things are obvious, but when something mentions the very same things that you thought about is important. Kirill and then Dmitry mentioned the thing that which is close to my heart. Lead by example. Stop writing in the chat box at night because people are looking up to you. We're all guilty of that. And this is the first takeaway for me personally. I thought I think it will take us another 3 hours to discuss the takeaways. Елизавета, the floor is yours. Well, I think today was a great example of how a psychodynamic team works. And this practice has been rolled out in medical healthcare institutions where the burnout is a huge problem for the healthcare professionals. People gather around, there's a facilitator, probably a psychologist, especially a trained psychologist, and people start discussing a specific problem, for instance, a burnout. They can joke about it, they can laugh about it, they will touch on serious faces. But the point is that it's going to be a frank discussion in a safe space where people would be able to share their feelings and emotions. You should not be ashamed or trying to conceal your thoughts and emotions. It's not something to be blamed for. A dialogue is important because it alleviates the pressure, it releases the tension and creates a culture when people will not burn out, but rather undertake steps or at least tell a boss that they need a rest. Thank you so much. Let me share the following with you. I just arrived from Kazan, and we spent 3 days in a locked room without any smartphones to discuss some of the pain points, and we were being frank about that. And it works. I really suggest that you do the same kind of thing with your teams. Olga, did you mention anything about did you discuss psychology in Kazan? Did you discuss psychology in Kazan? Of course we did. When you share your pain points when you talk to business or to your subordinates, of course it's an important parcel of psychology. Thank you so much. Olga, any pieces of advice? Well, just an observation. It's not a piece of advice. I observed you turning into caring bosses. I have no idea whether you cared about your subordinates. We joked most of the panel discussion, but nevertheless, now you understand what the role of a caring boss is. You used to be rescuers and heroes. Now you become motivators for your own selves and for others. Vladimir, the floor is yours. Well, take care of yourself, and someone was writing saying that you have to put the oxygen mask on yourself first. Well, but the threshold is different for the different people. You can dive 10 meters deep into the water before putting an oxygen mask, while others require an oxygen mask from the get-go. And if you're a manager, you have to realize that this profession comes with burnout as a bundle. Burnout is going to be part and parcel of that. Take care of your guys and girls, and there are a few females in cybersecurity. Some people say, I have carried out a professional suicide. I'm gonna go to Bali. They buy wine menus. Sorry, they take out wine menus and so on and so forth. So take care of yourselves first. No one's gonna help you, neither the HR department nor anyone else. You're trying to reduce the level of, anxiety. You're saying you're responsible for everything. You are the one to blame. Thank you so much for bringing the anxiety down. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. We will gradually wrap up the panel discussion. Actually, it was not our objective to work out a playbook of what needs to be done if you're burnt out, or how to identify the indicators of burnout. We did not discuss any frameworks for detecting burnout because it requires an in-depth discussion. We only started the discussion, and if it sets your thinking, that's great. That means that we did a great job, target achieved, and you can always watch the video of this panel discussion again, play it back, listen to our jokes again, listen to some serious advice, and apply it in your practice when you work with your teams. Thank you so much.